Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Um, as you can see, there's a pre-meeting survey question up there. If you'd like to answer that, and as I get started, I'm gonna do a little housekeeping before we get started. So thanks everybody for joining us today for the NCLUG Tech Talk with NCDOT. Today's webinar will be a peek inside the NCDOT ORD lab, which is a three-part series. We're on part 2, OpenRoads Designer Plan Production Tools. But first, just some housekeeping rules to get started. This is a webinar presentation, so we'll mute everybody. At any time during the webinar, you can submit your questions in the chat box. We'll allow time at the end for questions, and we'll probably try to answer them as we go through. We will be recording the webinar and sharing the link after the event. NCLUG is offering PDH credits to those who have registered for the event on the website. If you were forwarded a meeting link, just be sure to go and register on our website at nclug.com. After the session, NCLUG will send out the PDH receipts to those who have attended this live meeting. No credit will be given to those who view the pre-recorded sessions. As of this meeting, all PDH credit receipts have been sent out. If you happen to didn't get one for an event you think you've attended, you can just email us at events@nclug.com, and then we'll track that down. And then be sure to stay tuned till the end where we'll have another $50 gift card drawing. So now I'd just like to introduce Oak Tavenom with NCDOT as our presenter today. I'll hand it over to you, Oak.
Okay. How's the audio? Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Welcome everybody. Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about ORD plans production tools, some of the stuff we're doing in the behind the scenes. When we talk about plans production, we always need to talk about the annotation groups. Annotation groups play an important role in the way things are labeled. It is created, stored, and assigned in our feature definition libraries. And you got annotation group for plan, profile, and cross-section. And the annotation group is defined by their definitions here, annotation definitions. So each annotation group, like right here, you have cross-section grid annotation here. We'll have these annotation definition there. So the definition of an annotation group basically tells where do you want to place a text or a label or cell, the location, the orientation, the type it is, is text, cell, how do you want to show what element template is shown as the symbology, what level is on, what color it is, and so forth. It uses your text styles and text favorites, as we discussed last time. So getting your design into the sheet goes through a process of within a DGN file. You may have all three models here, and these square based on the background color. So your design model is usually black in background color. Your drawing model is gray, and your sheet model is usually white. So what the sheet model does is reference your drawing model, and then your drawing model reference your design, and that's how the sheeting works. And your sheet also reference a sheet border cell to place the nice border that you see. So we get this basic concept in whatever you do with automatic sheet creation and annotation groups. The designs here, your drawing, and your sheet. So that's how all this works. When we talk about the procedure and referencing, we also need to talk about the scaling of things. Your design model is based off your annotation scale, 1 inch equals 50 feet for plans and so forth. So does your drawing. But when we go to sheet here, we have set the annotation scale to full scale, 1:1, and they have something called a detail scale here. A detail scale is pretty much whatever the annotation set at your drawing and design. It is the calculated master to reference scale. So if it's, 20:1 or 50:1 here, your detail scale is usually how do you want to show that scale within that name boundary? And we talk about name boundary in a minute to fit on that scale, but it's always at a 1:1 scale for your sheet. So our recommendation to avoid confusion when you're printing and plotting, you should use the sheet size instead of the traditional scale, like because it's 1:1. 1 inch equals 0.0833 foot. Doesn't make sense to our old microstation V8 geopack, high plot scale. So just use the sheet model size as you're printing. So a lot of question comes up early on when folks tackle the annotation part. How do I manually annotate certain things? So, in the plan view, you can annotate in your design model and your drawing model, but rarely you want to, annotate anything manually on your sheet because all this is done automatically for you. Profiles works a little bit different. You rarely want to do in design because the design model of profiles, you can't really annotate anything. So you can do all kind of annotation in your drawing of your profile. And same thing for sheet here. Rarely you want to, cross section, you can't do anything in the 2D, 3D design model. Manually do it. You can definitely manually label your drawing model of the cross section, and rarely you want to do anything in the sheets. And we'll see that. So some of these examples in action in a minute.
Hey.
Yes.
For a second and see if you can maximize your presentation slide somehow. We're getting the presentation mode where it's showing your current slide and your next slide. And I think we're gonna, it would probably help with text slide size a little later. It might be that you're sharing the left screen. Maybe you need to share your right screen. Now we can hold desktop.
Yeah, I'm just going to maximize it. I try to do the full view of the presentation, but it's not working out for me.
Okay. Well,
I just do it this
what
way.
you're doing now is even bigger. So, okay. Sorry for the interruption.
Is that better? No, I don't. When you guys don't see what you need, I want you to get this out and just, if something that's not clear.
And that helps with these screen captures. So you're good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So the first thing is referencing file. I know photogrammetry folks and location surveys has a lot of question on how we consume their file, the old 2D topo files and stuff. When we use those files that was created using project scale, NCDOT project scale, we want to reference them with two options turned on here. So, or turn off, I should say. Turn off the annotation capability of your reference file here. And also your global line style should set to reference because by default, this is set to master. And I'll show you in the file here. So this is your plan, a typical plan sheet here. So these are old V8 topo. So notice here, you got the wood lines here, the one that has line style scale set to reference and annotation turned off. But here you see the wood line here is all solid because this, based off this master annotation scale is 1 to 600 or 1 equals 50 feet. So what you have to do is go to your, this first questions we get from our user is, how do I make that the right line style scale? So pick your topo file here. See it's master here. Change that to reference and uncheck this annotation. And this usually fixes 90% of the scaling issue. So now you see this line style, custom line style that was in V8. So that's the first thing we do with our reference file in V8. So we have something, every time you create name boundary, we have something called drawing seeds. So it goes, the drawing seed is just default settings for the name boundary placement in create drawing dialog box. It pertains to civil plans, civil profiles, and civil cross-section sheets. You know, all these settings can be modifiable, adjustable before your name boundaries are placed and the drawing sheets are created. And so our typical plan sheet looks something like this when we produce it. This is full color. So let's get into the actual demo of creating plan sheets, because I don't like to PowerPoint you guys to death or to record you to death. So, and you know, the annotation group for plans include the drawing model. So the drawing plan annotation group has your north arrow with the NAD designation. This is the only place where you will pick your north arrow NAD designation. It automatically includes the match line. It automatically, well, your linear is in your design model. This is where you will label your horizontal alignment layout with station, ticks, mark, curve data, and so forth. Linear 3D and point, I found out today that's used by the survey guys, but we don't use it in the OpenRoads modeling workflow too much. So I have my topo file here, reference, I have my design here. I'm ready to place the name boundaries. So I'll go to my drawing, place name boundary, and civil plan is this icon here, mode. I select my drawing seed. So my drawing seed includes this new plan dual 50 scale. We always had dual profiles, but we never had dual plan. And this can be used in many instances. Remember, we had sometimes bridge projects that's, you know, maybe 2,000 feet or so long, and you use 1.5 sheets, 2 sheets to encompass the plan view. So if you do this, you just do it dual plan, 1 sheet, top and bottom plans. Try this out because we don't know if this may work out for you or not, but I think it has a lot of potential. Also, too, I will go over how to create plan or profile sheet later on, because that's a common question we get. So right now I'm just gonna do 50 only scale. So I'm just gonna select my alignment here to place my name boundary. I'm gonna start from the beginning. And you can manually, you know, tell it where you want to end. I was just gonna create just a few sheets here. And so, you know, remember your drawing seed, the one I pick here, so mix, you know, set all these settings here. And by no means is a set, you know, you can change these anytime before you place the name boundary. Also with the create drawing dialog box here, this is all pretty much set except for the plan here, the annotation group for drawing. This is where I want you to select your north arrow and NAD designation, okay? So in this time, I'll try this guy right here. 336. Everything else here is set. Just like we talk about detail scale here. Remember, annotation scale, and bring back to the slide here. Drawing seeds. And when you create drawing, here's some options that you may find it useful to do it sometime. You want to create one sheet per DGN, so you click on this option here. So some state or agency may require one sheet per DGN, so you want to make sure to click that on. You also have the option to create the drawing models and sheet model in another file from your design model. These two guys right here. This, your plan profile, PPL is the plan profile layout file. So that's the file I'm in right now. If you want to create the drawing, the sheet in a different file, you have that option here. Also add the sheet index, and that's when we did our first quick start training, I tell you guys to check that on when you create the sheet index. But today I'm gonna tell you a different way that you can do that during this sheet creation. You check it on now, or you can do it after the sheet has been created, which I prefer because you have more control on what it says. Okay, I'll show you that sheet index too in a minute. Okay, let's go ahead and all right, go ahead. And once I place my north arrow here, I'm just going to select my north arrow and click OK. And it's going to process pretty fast. Okay, so even when you do navigate here, you see the gray and the white theme here with the gray drawing model. The sheets are white there. So you can navigate it through this method here. So, here is a typical sheet that you get. Notice, match lines automatically comes with this in the new version here. North arrow here. Take a look at this north arrow here. This is a change in here. And everybody remembers the V8 north arrow. So we have the title sheet, the plan sheets, and here's the new north arrow and the base mapping north arrows. So the reason why I needed to change this is if you look at the white background in your sheet, your north arrow doesn't show up too much. So I felt the need to change this a little bit and use some of the new OpenRoads technology features that you can implement this into your north arrow. So this is for just plan sheets. The profile sheets, the title sheet north arrows will probably stay the same. So you notice here, it doesn't matter which way the north arrow is pointing, your text will always be 0 to your sheet or your drawing the view. So this is what we call view independent. We find this a lot with our curved data. You see, I didn't rotate all this. All this is automatically rotate 0 to your sheet. So we apply view independent to our design model to come across in our drawing sheets. And like this sheet here, we can always go to the drawing model if we don't like certain things about it. Like here's a drawing model on one of the sheets here. Remember when I mentioned the manual annotation? So it applies to the what's drawn automatically too. Say I want to move this north arrow here, move it, pick it up. I want to label something, I do it here, and so forth. So I forgot what this plan one. I hope plan one is somewhere. Maybe. But it should if I know where plan 1 is. There. Nope. Okay, let me make this change here. I know this plan 1. So I could take basic MicroStation command, move it anywhere I want, and see the north arrow goes along. Okay. Sheet index. So sheet index is going to be very used by our engineers and railway staff here. It is, like I said, it could be created during or after sheet creation for the creation organization too. It is project-wide access, not project-wise, but it's project-wide access and navigation, meaning I don't have to be in a folder that the sheets are or the file that the sheet is created in. I could be in any folder as long as I'm in that work set or that project. I can navigate to that or have control over how I want to do the printing and so forth. It has print organizer integration. So this is where we apply our print styles, pen table, design script, and the PDF creation part of Sheet Index. And Sheet Index in the DGNW workset file, the DGNWS file here, it's all controlled through this file here. Sheet Index is controlled by this DGNWS here. So what this DGN is WS file is, it's just a regular MicroStation file. So when I open it up here, I can, key in the TIP number, and if it's just like any resource file, if it becomes corrupt, you just delete it, and MicroStation will automatically create it for you. So let me go to a DGNWS file, and this guy here. So the workset DGN file here, I just go to File because I'm in this workset called ORD Quick Start. Now all the files from today is from our Quick Start training. So workset, I just go to Properties. And you notice this is my DGNWS. So I go down to my workset properties here and key in my TIP number. And that's how my sheet knows that's the TIP number to put on the title block. So a lot of questions say, how does my sheet know what TIP number it is? It grabs it from here. Okay. And in the future, you may want to use, project status, phase, or whatever, location, what county it is in, and so forth. So you have a lot of options, and you can add other fields here, workset properties here, when you create the workset. But that's where the sheets are grabbing the TIP number or the STIP number. Go back to my plan sheet here. And your so how does my sheet numbering, process, or how does the sheet knows what number is to be displayed? So it works off your sheet index folder or DGNWS, and it has text favorite in each drawing seed in your library you said, make this your sheet number. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to go to 5 to 8 here. So right now, that's my DGNW workset property. So how does it know this is 8? So what happened here is We go to Explore. Sheet Index. And click on this to expand the capability of here. So right here, I've organized the sheet index to, you know, here I can delete them, just set up new ones. Okay, so if you look in the properties here, what I'm saying is this folder here, when I import those sheets into this folder here to organize it, you know, numbered with 3 digits and so forth, and I want to begin starting at sheet 4. Okay, so that's mine, and I'm going to add files to this. Add sheets, and we just create it here in your plan sheet in this file here. And notice here we got, you know, all sheets that's labeled differently. So I'm just going to pick those. And once they're imported, you see the renumbering here. And that's how, you know, I guess I didn't do this one, but let me pull up. So yeah, I did these one down here. It looks like the same name, but that's how the sheet number gets in here. You can renumber them here, edit them, so forth. But also, sheet index, you can actually go to them just by double clicking on it. Like I said, it's not file folder specific. You see, I could just double click on it. So I don't have to be in this file to navigate to them. I have access to sheet index no matter what folder or what file I'm in, as long as I'm in that work set or that project. So this is good navigation too. Okay, so once you have your sheet index organized the way you want to create a P-set or iPlot organizer similar to iPlot organizer. But you bring up this integration of print organizer here. And you will give it a print style to select from. Right now we have one we're testing, ORD PDF to create black and white PDF. It's on my other window, the screen. But yes, see, I selected one when I do this. If I select the whole folder, I get all the plots, not just that one plot I selected. Okay, so here you can organize it what we call a P-set, or it's similar to iPlot organizer, IPS, P-set for print organizer. Since how print styles are set, let me look. We can look at the print styles. Well, we already applied that. I just want to show you that the print style has a connection to your. We develop a Rowway Underbar Connect pen table, a new one for this. I'd like to thank the pilot team from last year, especially Dean Sarvis and his work in helping us getting the pen table for print organizer to work. And we're just continuing that development here. So here. I want to print out, make PDFs of these maybe 3 sheets here. And I'll just go ahead and print. And here is, you can define output name. So right here, just like our quick start training here, we want the sheet number in the name and choose custom here. I'm just going to type in so I want this to appear in underbar on all the PDF name. Have this and then the sheet number so I can preview that too. Showing up in my other screen here. So that's what the output of the PDF should look like. PDF. So I'm okay with that. PSL plan sheet, PRL profile sheet, new name convention. Just FYI. Okay, and then I'm just going to output that PDF here. Hopefully I don't have any PDF in that folder, output folder here. So I already have 2 already. Last time, I'm just going to delete these just to make sure it works. All right, so I'm ready to create the PDF. Black and white. Goes in and process this thing. And the process, you can do this for plan sheet, profile sheet, and cross section. Okay, time for a story. Anybody got a good story? Yeah, I remember doing my first training in 2004. Ross had asked me to do a refresher course in criteria. Remember criteria and plan production. This is similar to the name drawing layout stuff that we demonstrate. The GeoPack, remember the GeoPack plan profile layout tool? Yeah. So let's go back to that folder. Where is that folder? Did I dismiss it? Here it is. So you can see the PDF here. Let me bring up the first one. So you can see, Dee and I worked on dithering this, the background. Here, make our design pop out with solid black, so forth. That's all controlled through your pin table. Okay. Pull up the slide here. Make sure I don't skip some very important things I need to talk about. Forgot to talk about dynamic title block. We're investigating ways to make our title block. Right now we have the base here. It includes your basic information, your TIP number, and the sheet number. So we're looking at making this a little bit dynamic for the different unit here. So in roadway design, we probably want to put seal block for hydraulic engineers and roadway engineer here. The surveys guy wants probably put their surveyor seal here for their right-of-way recordation, but keep the same sheet numbering system and, you know, put R/W on there. Same thing with the clip area. We all want the same border, the same clip area, station limits, match line, and so forth, but we want to renumber, you know, not renumbering, but just put prefixes on the number to tell you where it's coming from, and also change out seal blocks for the different unit here. You may have traffic engineers, you have environmental engineer here. So that's something we're looking at exploring. And all this is possible with what we mentioned about the importance of work sets. So all this hinges on the use of our work set. If we use it properly, we can do this. We can do dynamic title blocking. If we don't, all of this is not possible. Okay. Print organizer, we went through that. File rename and profile sheets. All right. This is our typical profile sheets. The annotation here is, you know, you got profile grid lines, grid stations, and elevation. Also, you can't annotate the linear part of profile. It's done in the drawing model. So this is your vertical alignment layout, your cardinal points, curve data, existing strip grades, etc. Point are not currently used as the profile annotation group. So let's get a quick demo of how a profile sheet works. So you save a P set just like IPS. I'm not going to save it and store it into your project folder. So go to my quick start profile sheet here. So when you do a plan, you know, plan sheet, you need the plans up. So when you do profile, you need both plan and profile, or profiles, because the profile can't exist without the plan part, or your vertical alignment cannot exist without your horizontal alignment. So I have here, this is all I need. So when I go do place name boundary for my profile here, profile is this guy, silver profile. I'm gonna select my drawing seed, and you know we have plan profile 50 scale. So we have 20 scale, 50 scale, dual. That's top and bottom, and then profile only 20 scale, profile only 50 scale, which is just you know your full sheet of profile. So I'm gonna do dual profile. And notice here you have the option here to your station limit is from plan view. So I have my plan view here. I want to match the stationing of my plan sheets here with my profile sheet. So I'm gonna use this method to match it from the plan group. Everything here is, you know, already set based on your selected drawing seat here. So I'm just gonna identify my profile view, and it puts it in here, and then I just confirm it. And do profile, everything else looks good here. I don't have to do anything here. You notice here on our previous dialog box, it says use terrain. So it takes account of the proposed grade and the terrain. Try to center that profile sheet. You do have the option, I'll show you after we execute the sheet, to shift it up and down if you find the profiles are not centered according to horizontal or vertical. I mean, your existing and proposed vertical line. So I'm just gonna click OK. Sheet sheet production is pretty automatic, and that's something missing in SS4 and SS3. The total sheet, plan sheet, profile sheet, and cross-section sheet, in SS3, SS4, you always have to do that left turn to go SS2 to do. I felt we are better to handle these type of sheeting processes with ORD, and it's fully developed. So I think I have a good, I have a good feeling about how they developed, Bentley developed the sheets and stuff. Let's see, for my first, what is my first profile sheet? I should have named it something that makes sense. You do have that option. I didn't show you. Okay. So a couple notes about the profile sheets that we develop here. It includes now your site stopping site distance as part of your vertical curve data. Has low point, high point label now. Station offset. Some of the fundamental things, we have strip grades here. Proposed and existing grade every 100 foot. And you notice the use of text style that has the background to mask out your text on the grid. We did this with profile grids and cross-section grid you'll see in a minute. But I think this is a huge advantage, and we did plotting tests on it. It works pretty good. So we're excited to offer this option here as your text style having a mask background for the grid. So you don't have to put that shape and put it on the right masking level and all that stuff. So we're excited about that feature. Okay, so back to the slide, make sure I don't skip any important. Okay, let's do plan, top, profile, bottom sheets. Okay, so a lot of questions about how do we do that. So let's see if I can do that with this Y line here. I'll feel better with this one. Pretend this sheet doesn't exist because in future you're going to have to match this with their sheet boundary of the other alignment. But I'm going to first place my civil plan. I'm going to use my drawing sheet here, plan profile 50 scale, the plan part here. And I'm going to select my alignment. And you will have your topo and everything else here. So I'm just going to create the first sheet. And I want to cancel out this. I don't want to create drawing. Okay, so once I have this, I'll place my profile. So I need to pull, and we'll go to this now design tools, and I like to do a tips and tricks session. This view control is very handy. I can't work without this. I got used to this. I said I don't know how to do it any other way. So I could do 2 views, plan view. Yes, I want to create plan view. Give me this guy here. Okay, plan element view here. Okay, so that's the profile of this alignment here. So I want to put the profile part of this plan profile sheet here. Use my drawing seed, this guy here, and click on from this. So that's Y11 from plan group, and that's the drawing area. Click it to accept, and here is the option. Says, well, in the plan view, I want to put north arrow this long guy, see if it's gonna fit. And then nothing here for the profile. Click OK. Again, I should have named it, but pretty much your plan here, bottom here, profile here, stop and set distance, and your usual annotation. Of course, you can, like this right here, you have the topo files reference and everything, but you can go, if you don't like, or if you want to move this up, you can actually go to your reference here and move the whole thing. So I got that highlighted here. I could do move. Or anything. And then again, find what you like. And then you can always go to your drawing and move things. What was this? On this profile. I should have named it something or I could easily find, but you can go to, your drawing, your gray background drawing and move things and do whatever annotation you want. Okay. So that's how you create top plan sheet, bottom profile sheet. Pretty simple, I think, straightforward. So we went through the step of that. Plan profile creation drawing. Notice you still have the drawing seed and then the ability to select your north arrow NAT designation. Cross-section sheet, which is the last thing we'll go over, is pretty straightforward. Helps to have everything on the same screen. Okay, cross-section sheets, you must have both the alignment file, the corridor modeling file, and your existing terrain model file reference. So I'm in the XSC file, I have all these reference here. And you must also have both the plan view and the 3D model view open for this to work. So if you just have the plan view up, it's not going to work. So place name boundary. I'm going to go to silver cross section here. Choose my seed. So this is the only place where you will have SCB or half size sheets here. The rest plans and profile sheet are full size NCD. And the last number designate how much, how wide of, your sheet or your cross section port is. It's 70 feet left and right, 150 left and right, 300 left and right. So that's how, depending on the scale. So for a dual lane roadway, it's appropriate to use XS10 scale here. And I'll just select my alignment. I'm just curious here, and I might do all the way to the bridge here, open OBM bridge here. Okay. And you don't have to do anything here, that's fine. Click OK. Okay, it's going to take a little bit of while to process. Another story. Yeah, I remember 2006, we went out to Hickory to do our first, for 3 nights. Me, Eddie, and Jim went out to Hickory, the old Catawba College area there. works computer room to do the training for hearing maps preparation and plans production training, roadway plans production training. I hope to do something like that in the future too, because I can't speak for the rest guy, but I do miss going out in the field, just getting to talk with the guys in the divisions and so forth, and how they're doing with this stuff. Okay. So you notice our plan sheet here. There's some upgrades here, some new, some maybe old that the pilot guys probably seen as far as say, oh, that's old news, Oak. But in our automatic annotation cross section, you see all our subgrade points are labeled. So this is good for grading. You want to verify grading, all our subgrade points are labeled. The uses of flow arrows, because well, look at this -2%, that's also -2%, but where is it flowing from? So we have flow arrows along our pavement here. So every finished grade points are labeled, ditches are labeled. You see the C's and F's here. I kind of like what we did. See how we maximize the space. If it's going to be a cut, we want to label it down here. If it's going to be filled, we want to label it here just to maximize the space. Let me go to another sheet. Later on in the project, you may start seeing this. So right there, you got F for your field. So I'm done with the presentation. I hand it over to, yes.
Yeah, we do have a question. Somebody wants
Okay.
to know, is it possible to resize the cross sections name boundaries after they're created? Or do you have to delete them and redo them? So if you add like hydro ditches and stuff like that, sometimes they don't capture, you add something to it.
I do not think so, but I'll check. The way to do it, I would do it, just delete that section and put in the new scale or the resized name boundary.
Okay. And the labels in this cross sections for like EOT and paved shoulder and all that, is that pulling that from the, it's just grabbing that as a feature code, or where's that coming from?
It's coming from the feature definition of your template.
Okay.
So whatever your template is showing, it's going to label it as such.
Okay. Yeah, we can open it up to questions. If anybody has a question, you can either type it in the box or go ahead and unmute yourself.
Come on, Dean. I know you got some.
That was great, Oak. And I think it's the type of thing, until people actually get in there and start creating their own, then they'll have all kinds of questions about the layouts. So is DOT still putting together some of these sheets? Are y'all open to suggestions if people have suggestions on creating or things like, they'd like to see added?
Yes, like Jason Moore mentioned in the last presentation that we did, this is all subject to change. And the way real change happen is through you guys' input. So a lot of this stuff that's in our workspace, you can see that we develop a lot in the workspace. It came from user coming up to us and says, hey, Oak, or hey, Emery, hey, Brooke, I like to see this. You know, how can I do this, accomplish this in my, in my work? How can I do this better? Can this be done? So these questions comes up to us and we'll figure out how to implement them and put it as a standard practice. But we do need everybody help in their inputs on say, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Because I didn't show you on the alignment annotation there. We actually put the station and alignment name when we do stationings. And that came out from an input from our NCLUG user member. So I said, yeah, I mean, that's something that we can do. We just didn't think about it until somebody mentioned it to us. But real change happened when you guys come to us, and ask us questions. How can we do things better? Or, I like to see this happen and so forth. How can we do that type of question?
Yeah, great. So if people have questions or suggestions, who's the best person to send those to?
That will be Mr. Jeff Garland.
Okay.
He has
That,
a,
yep, that's me. Yeah, fire it away. There's tons of ways to get in touch with me. There's to the external website, there's email addresses, etc. Or you can just reach out directly to my email through the contact page.
Great. Well, we really do appreciate DOT doing this presentation and the progress y'all are making in this. So it looks great.
And any question from last time we were here, I guess. Now
Yeah.
that you guys have time to digest. And I'd like to clarify that last time somebody asked about what happened if you just double click on the file. You know, in DOT, we have a environment variable set up for like roadway, hydraulics, and so forth. So if you just double click on the file, it's going to go to that load NCDOT and that discipline standards. But if you don't have that defined, like most in the divisions or the consultant world don't have that environment variable set up, it's going to load all. Hopefully that answered that question.
Okay. We do have another question, but I was just going to do some wrap up and then we'll ask that question just in case people need to leave. The PDHs, I need to double check. I know a lot of you said maybe we didn't get the last couple weeks out, but I thought Ian had sent me a message saying he did, but we'll double check on that. So if you hadn't got the PDH receipts for the last couple sessions, we'll double check that. And then of course we have more NCLUG Tech Talks coming up. So stay tuned for part 3, I think is next week. And then be sure to check out the year in infrastructure. Oh, I take that back. NCLUG Tech Talk is the 28th, I believe. Next week, we're taking a break because Bentley is doing their structure, and also ACEC and DOT are doing their joint training conference. So we're taking a break next week, but be sure to catch back up with us. And then today's winner is Robert Purcell. We'll send you, congratulations, we'll send you out an email with some details about that. And so with that, appreciate that. And Oak, now I'll ask this final question, or a question. Anybody else could still, he'll stay on for a little bit longer. More people have questions, but Lane wanted to know, they found that smart labels created in one workspace, example like hydraulics, do not sync well when referenced to another DGN from a different workspace like roadway. And they will disappear if the reference is inactive. So every time they need to make a change, they have to switch to workspaces. So inconvenient. Do you know?
Yeah, yes. And
Solution
I
for
just got
that?
out of battle with Bentley on that this morning.
Okay.
The problem is with text favorites. To create those labels, you use text favorites, right? The text favorite needs to reside at the NCDOT level for everybody to share. We used to have text favorite that's in roadway, text favorite in hydraulics, and text favorite in survey workspaces. So when it doesn't see that link, once you use that text favorite, it's still a link. So, you know, not unless you load NCDOT all, it doesn't see that text favorite as a resource. So that's why your text favorite is broken. Right now, if we put all text favorite at the NCDOT level just for that case, and I have a service request to make text favorite, just like any DG lib element, save into the active file. Once you use it, just like a level, just like a custom line style, just like a text style. Once you use it, it's saving the file, not still linked somewhere like a custom line style resource file. But yeah, that's the problem, is the broken link of the text favorite is not stored at a central place until that problem is fixed.
All right. Any other final questions before you got Oak here to ask them? So now's a good time. Although he will be back, so if anything comes up between now and then, like you said, you can get up with Jeff Garland, ask your questions, and hopefully maybe they can present that on the 28th when they come back if you have some thoughts. Okay.
Yeah, I'll hang around a couple of minutes for anybody who just want to talk, shoot breeze.
Okay. Oak, is all the stuff that you presented today in the current workspace
Oh, that's a good question. No, it will be tonight.
tonight? Okay.
Yes, 6.3.1 will be released tonight.
Hello, Oak. I had a question.
Yeah.
Is there any reason to convert a B8 survey for ORD unless it's just have a lot of questions on that from other folks?
All right, survey guys, I'll leave that question to Emery. You may want to contact
Is there
Emery
any,
on the survey stuff.
like I said, I just wonder if there's any benefit to it.
Yeah, as far as 2D topo, like I said, we just referenced, we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave all the 2D V8 stuff, topo files and stuff alone, as reference. We still can consume the 10 and make that a terrain model. But ultimately, when location surveys and photogrammetry get going, they're going to just deliver us a terrain model. We don't really need 10 or DTM or any of that stuff.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Unless it's a 3D, unless you actually did an ORD 3D survey, you just use the graphics from the survey that you have and reference it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to keep those two separate. I mean, when I say survey, I'm talking about the survey graphics. They went out there and pulled into the file, but some people also use survey as DTM. So I try to not say DTM's the terrain model. So keep that separate from the graphics. But
You may want to pick Emery's brain. I think they're talking about delivering 3D files instead of 2D now to us.
that would be great. And then also, some other states are asking to have the survey converted to ORD, and I'm like, why would you do that unless you actually do it? Unless you're actually doing 3D surveys, like, why would you do that? I'm trying to figure out what the benefit of it would be, other than just line styles or something like that. But actually, I'd just leave it alone. But
yeah. So Brian asked about the survey part, but the survey part, I'll leave that to Emery. But I do know the annotation labels stuff. The annotation label will go back to its default location once you adjust your alignment or update your information on your alignment. So we found that out. We know about that for a long time, but just made Bentley aware of that issue. That if you move your curve data on your plan sheet to somewhere, and then all of a sudden you made changes to your profile or your horizontal alignment, it's going to go back to where it is by default. So hopefully they get that issue fixed.
yeah, because like I have that issue with in Texas for some of the counties want their curve information still in a table format.
Yeah.
So I create, you take, I take the same information, but you put it in table format and then you redo your profile or your alignment.
Yeah.
You have to redo it because it, it puts it back to where it was.
Yeah,
I was going to bring that up to Bentley. It's like, is there a way to, once you move it, to leave it where it's at? Just change the numbers.
yeah.
Because some of the counties are still, they still have their pet ways that I can see things.
Mm.
And they haven't changed yet, and they're probably slow to change. So sometimes you're going to have to do stuff like that, like putting stuff in charts and.
Well, my thing is, you probably leave that in the default value until you're ready to print or create PDF.
Right.
Then you want to move it to a more permanent place out of the way before you do that printing or create PDF part.
Yeah.
But definitely label it anytime, but don't place the labels, move the labels until you're ready to print, because chances are changes happen and then it's going to go back to default.
And especially frustrating when you're doing 6 alternates and they're changing alternates all the time. So it's constantly changing, but yet they still won't see the table. It's like, oh, okay. Let's see.
Yeah, they do have they call it Innovation Council. They had a group of about 5 to 6 DOTs get together with Bentley and a focus group to address some of these issues. And one of the topic was annotation 2.0. So hopefully some of these annotation issues be discussed and addressed in that focus group.
Yes, when you work in different states, you just see all these different ways that, or even different counties in different states for that matter. All these different ways that they like to see things presented, especially with alignments, data, right-of-way takings, things this thing. A lot of them are all in charts. A lot of them are on a separate page in a chart. Some have their own alignment sheet. Just a sheet for alignments data.
Yeah.
You
can do sheet, in sheet index, you can do, you can print out a table on the sheet index.
Right. I did that, but they didn't like the way it looked.
Yeah, it's not. I suggested it's another way to handle that. I mean, just reformat it a different way. I don't know if they even care.
Yeah, if you reformat it a different way, then it changes. You have to redo it again. So some of those things you just get. It's just. It's just the way it looks. It's the same data. It's just the way it looks. It might not be formatted just like the way they used to seeing it, but that's what they want. So it's hard to argue with them. But that's just some of the things you run into when you're working in different states, different counties, districts.
Yeah. Yep.
It'd be nice if everybody would just get together and look at the software. And this is what you can easily get out of the software and put it in a table and stick it on a sheet, and this is what it looks like. And they're okay with that, but that's not the way it's going to work.
Well, my thing with MicroStation table is, it's nice to capture all these quantities, but it can't total it up for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have to spit it back out to an Excel sheet, total it up, and spit it back into the MicroStation tables.
Yeah.
So I could count how, all these right-of-way markers and estimate, but I can't total it up.
You can't total it up. Yeah.
What sense did that make? I could tell you everything about this item here, where it is, and everything else. Yep. I can't tell you how many.
Can't decide how many they are. Yeah.
We'll go over
I think your sheets and cross sections, labeling everything looks really good. I mean, I think they're doing a lot of good work.
Yeah, we put a lot of labels on there.
That's a lot more detailed than it used to be. So I mean, that's what Bentley spits out. That also freaks some of folks out to us like, it's just more information. How's it bad? How's that bad? I mean, I think it's better. So I don't understand. Not having some contract out there calculating stuff that's not displayed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what does it hurt? I
What
guess
does it
you can
hurt?
turn it off. Yeah, you can turn it off if you
Yeah.
don't practice it. I mean, you can turn all these
Yeah.
different.
Or you pave shoulder, you got your edge travel, you got all your elevations, widths, elevations, everything's there, so it's very easy to for a contractor building a job or anybody estimating the job or whatever, it's really they're not having to calculate anything to get what they need.
So that means no more X1 sheets, the earthwork balance sheets. Are you still working on that?
Yeah, so Roger Cluckman is still working on that. We still probably need to do it, but it's going to look different. We have the capability to do what we used to do with 50-foot sections, but we got a lot more capability too that we're exploring. That you may not do 50-foot because it's mortar is a lot accurate. It's 5-foot intervals, so we may do like our cost-based earthwork breakdown limits. Every 3,000 foot or every bridge breaks, grade separation breaks, beginning end bridge, that type of deal that you don't have to do every 50 foot.
Yeah.
Or we even looking at the mass haul diagram. So that can replace some of the functionality of the X1A sheet. And mass haul diagram, we like that because it's one, automatic. We don't have to do anything different or extra. Two, it's ported right into like Trumbull Business Center for construction to do their estimate and earthwork moving. Those are some of the things that we are looking, to substitute some of the old workflows and stuff we used to do. But as I mentioned yesterday, now you see this is all ORD cross section, right? The next release of ORD, release 3, 2020 release 3, you can take all this back to SS2. So you can take this file and all these cross sections back to SS2. You can downgrade it, and that's something that's very exciting to me.
Yeah, I did. I actually shared that information you told us yesterday.
Yeah.
Some of the folks here, I don't know if they were excited about it as I was, but I guess
only if you stuck using SS2 for a long time will you appreciate that.
Yeah, people, yeah, I guess they don't do it every day, so or don't have to share information and things of that nature. But for us that have to do that and deal with other people, other subcontractors and partners, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah. So I create this in ORD, but I can downgrade it to SS2.
Right, and then that way you can
still like.
Like utilities. Utilities, they're always using AutoCAD, or if they just want some cross sections every once in a while, just to throw their utilities on there, just to look at, or whatever they do, measure from, whatever. And you can actually give them the graphics so they can actually go in there and do CAD on the cross sections.
Yeah.
They may not be using ORD. They might be using AutoCAD or whatever.
Yeah. Just graphics.
Just graphics. That's all they want, is just the graphics. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys, I got to jump off, but I'm going to stop recording now. And but you're welcome to stay on if you'd like.
Yeah. Yeah. No more questions. I'm just going to jump off to get lunch.
I like the shading. I like the.
It's actually material. I say I'm still on the fence whether I want to show the
material or not. Yeah.
The material or not. Some people may have a problem with that. But you see how
Well, now
our
you know if it's
intention,
asphalt or concrete, and then you can turn it the concrete look, and it'll be all concrete.
yeah, see the intention of this is in the future, we're not going to submit the contractor PDFs of the plan sheet. We're going to submit them the sheet model,
Right.
and it can click on each element and actually get the information they want. A PDF, you can't click on the element, get your information you want. But a iModel of this sheet, you have all access to anything that's labeled here, you know,
Right.
elevation and so forth. So that's the future of PDF versus an iModel or a, you know, a sheet model we're sending. We're not sending PDF, we're sending you the sheet iModel of the project. Yeah. Well, it's been good talking to you guys. I'll talk to
Oh
you
yeah.
guys. Yeah. Get ready for
A
the next one.
lot of great stuff.
Thanks, Oak. Thanks, Brian.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate